Probably the most difficult team to analyze in this tournament is Sri Lanka. There have been many high-profile exits. Those holes have not been plugged quite adequately as you would imagine. And there's almost a constant churn. There's a whirl of players coming in and going out in Sri Lanka. They're still a pretty good side in their conditions, but big question marks when they go out and play in England. Because as I keep saying all along, by the looks of it so far, this is going to be a high-scoring tournament. So do they have the bowlers to prevent the other team from scoring high? Maybe. They've got very decent pace bowling in Nuwan Pradeep and Suranga Lakmal. And then they've got support from Malinga. Dare I say support from Malinga. But is dropped in pace a little bit, 10 overs, but they've got Malinga in as well. Now what happens if you play all three? None of them bat. Then you've got a spinner. If you play Sandakan, he doesn't bat either. And so you see, as you go down that lineup, you'll see that there's a few bits and pieces players. But if you pick the specialist bowlers, then none of them bat and the batting just falls off a cliff. So let's go down that batting then, and you'll see why it's so completely dependent on two players. You start with Niroshan Dickwella because he's almost given the option to go out and play the big shots. And then there's Kushal Mendis, who's impressed a few people. I don't know if they play Kushal Pereira and Dickwella both because both of them are just going for it. A lot depends there on Upul Tarangar. But you get off those top three and you come into Chandimal and Mathews. Mathews coming off injuries is never quite there, but Chandimal and Mathews really have to carry this side. They like the look of Asela Gunaratne. He's 31, he's getting a second wind in his career. But then you play Gunaratne at 6. And then you're saying, right, who am I picking next? Do I play Kushal Pereira at 7 and back Angelo Mathews to give me a lot of bowling? Or do I then go with Thisara Pereira at 7? Then thereafter, the three fast bowlers, do they play Sandakan? Do they play Prasanna? So you see there's a lot of question marks with that Sri Lankan side towards the end. I think they should go with their strength, which is fast bowling, and maybe just pick the mystery wrist spin of Sandakan. But remember, they're playing against India and they're playing against Pakistan too. It's not such a mystery, though India haven't been as good players of spin in recent times. Maybe against South Africa, they might throw the two wrist spinners, both of them in Prasanna and Sandakan. So not quite a lot of pedigree on paper for Sri Lanka, but remember, in a 50-over game, the maturity of Mathews and the flair of Chandimal to go with the experience of Taranga might just take them through. But overall, I think they'll struggle to qualify. So the three key players for them are Angelo Mathews at the top. He just controls the side. Without him, they don't have a chance. Then Dinesh Chandimal, and just for the sheer wealth of experience he brings in, Lasith Malinga. But remember, they've won 6, lost 12 in recent times, and they need someone with flair, with great leadership to just pull them out of that kind of record. And that is why I think Sri Lanka rise and fall with Angelo Mathews. So here's the potential 11 for Sri Lanka. Dickwella and Taranga, Mendis, Chandimal, Mathews and Gunaratne. I've got Pereira in there, but they like to play Kapugedara, though Pereira gives them more bowling. Prasanna, Sandakan, Malinga and Pradeep. But if they decide to play Suranga Lakmal in some of the earlier games, then Prasanna or Sandakan.